Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Under the Microscope, the series where we look in depth at clubs, leagues, players, whatever you want us to talk about. So we're starting this episode, and next week you can choose what we will talk about in the comment section below. You can also tweet me at LouisBent8, and you can go and have a look and check out my Twitter page, and you can go and tweet me over there and tell me what you'd like us to talk about on next week's episode. So today's episode we start with Fulham. So let's get straight into it. In 2019, Fulham were relegated from the Premier League in 19th place. Fulham finished the season with 26 points, 10 points from safety, with a harrowing minus 47 goal difference. Fulham had the most goals conceded in the 18-19 season, with 81 goals conceded. With the Cottagers now in the Championship, just how have they recovered from the relegation of the 18-19 season? Let's find out on this week's episode of Under the Microscope. So, it's been going quite well for Fulham. Fulham sit third in the EFL Championship, level on points with Leeds, with 55 points in second place above them. With 1.77 points per game and unbeaten in 5, Fulham are going strong with only 15 games left of the EFL Championship season. Fulham now score an average of 2.82 goals per match, but with defensive issues beginning to be patched up, Fulham look much more secure at the back with 1.03 goals conceded per game. So let's start to look into why Fulham have made this sort of transition from the Premier League to the Championship and how they found it so comfortable. So with Fulham having a more secure backline, bringing in Michael Hector from Chelsea for an undisclosed fee in the January transfer window, the Jamaican has proved to be a good addition for the Lily Whites with an average rating of 7.31 per game. This form has inspired the Craven Cottage residents to their 5-game unbeaten streak. Fulham have the second best clean sheets record in the league, with 35% of their games resulting in clean sheets, with Marek Rodek, their goalkeeper, helping with this. One of Fulham's key features of their success comes in the shape of big Serbian international Aleksandar Mitrovic. The 25-year-old has scored a mighty 20 goals in 28 games, collecting a single assist along the way. The goals he's scored so far make him the division's joint top scorer alongside Brentford's Ollie Watkins. Mitro scores a goal every 126 minutes, the best record for a striker in the league. And of course, all teams need a good leader, and that comes in the shape of club captain Tom Cairney, who has scored 7 goals and 3 assists in 27 Championship appearances, with an average rating of 7.07 per game, a 90% pass accuracy average, and 2 tackles per game on average. The 29-year-old Scottish player is an outstanding leader for Fulham, and also is a very tidy player, likes to pass the ball around, likes to create key chances for players, and he's a very good player for Fulham. In the 18-19 season, Fulham struggled to sort of settle down that number 1 spot in goal, with Sergio Rico making 29 appearances and Fabry making much less. Both came in for quite high fees and left almost immediately after Fulham's relegation. But now they've started to sort of find a couple of goalkeepers who have really been good for them. So we'll start with Marek Rodek, who is a Slovakian. He's 23 years old. He's conceded 0.93 goals per game, 8 clean sheets, 16 goals conceded in 18 appearances, 1,547 minutes played. And you can sort of feel that with Rodek playing for them, they've got a bit more of stability in goal. But he's also been sharing the baton, really, with the goalkeeping situation at Fulham, with Marcus Bettinelli, who has slightly worse stats, with 1.02 goals conceded per game, 4 clean sheets in 14 matches and 14 goals conceded in 14 games, with 1,247 minutes played for the Englishman. So you start to think Fulham are starting to, find out their identity with the goalkeeping situation, not buying in Spanish goalkeepers who were unproven in the league and may lead to quite a lot of errors. They found Marek Rodek, I think he came in from Rotherham, and Marcus Bettinelli, who was there last season and started to flourish at the end of last season. Even got himself an England call-up. I don't think he played though, but he did get himself an England call-up, which was really good. So it's really good to see Fulham sort of nailing down that goalkeeping spot and not messing around with players that aren't going to work for them. Also, another factor of Scott Parker's success at the Cottagers is giving youth players a chance and giving some younger players a go in the first team. You remember in the Premier League last season, they didn't really give that sort of youth a chance. They went out there, they spent over 100 million in that summer transfer window. Now they've gone and sort of invested in lower money players and with lower risk, obviously, because Seri was bought in for millions of pounds. He's just gone on Galatasaray on loan, and he's probably never going to play in a Fulham shirt again. You've got players that came in and went straight away as soon as they went down, like Seri, and obviously some are stuck with them. So you got people like Joe Bryan who are stuck with them, which is really good. But the credit to Scott Parker giving some youth a chance. So let's start with Josh Onomah, who's made 18 appearances and is 22 years old, signed from Tottenham Hotspur on a low sort of fee. Steven Sessegnon, brother of Ryan Sessegnon, who's left for Tottenham Hotspur, big void to fill, but they've found a good player in his brother Steven, who's played 10 appearances. He's 19 years old, made several England youth appearances, so it's really good to see Steven Sessegnon getting a go, and not so much as we spoke about earlier, but Marek Rodek, 18 appearances, 23 years old, the Slovakian. And then you go to Luca Della Torre, who's beginning to come into the side with 2 appearances so far, the 19-year-old who plays for the USA under-20s. So you can see a real better ethos coming in from Scott Parker. It's not trying to buy some not well-known players from European leagues. He's bought some good quality English and good young talent who are going to come in and do a job for Fulham this season. And you can really credit Scott Parker for bringing in this sort of new ethos. It's not just going and buying from the top of the tree and hoping things will work. You've got a tried and tested method that you can develop players in the English system. And on this episode of Under the Microscope, we welcome Will from Fulham Focus. Will, how are you?
Good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, Will, your season's going quite well at the moment, 3rd in the Championship, level with Leeds on 55 points, who are in the automatic place. How do you think Fulham's season has gone so far?
Yeah, well, we started off a bit slow. We lost 1-0 to Barnsley on the opening day, who we have at home after the Millwall game this Wednesday. Yeah. We got Barnsley on Saturday. But yeah, so far, so good. I think there were a few shouts for Parker being sacked, but I think it's very harsh because he's a young manager, new to the scene, and I think so far I'd say our season's a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. Yeah,
and did you expect such a good goal return from Alexander Mitrovic? With 20 goals in 28 games, did you expect such great form from him?
I mean, we all know what he's capable of, but 20 goals in 28, like you say, that's a ridiculous return, and the fact that he was injured for a few games as well, he's unreal. And even if it may not be, the best finishes you've seen in your life, or he always has to get into the position, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's a very hungry player, isn't he? Always hungry to get in around the goal scoring area and get some goals for your team.
Yeah, exactly. He just looks, ready more than he ever has, and he just looks like he wants to fire us back up.
And so, apart from Mitrovic, who do you think has been your star player this season?
Well, I mean, Michael Hector's come in January, and I know he's only been here for a
5
month
games
and a bit now, but he's got, I think, 3 out of 4 league matches. I think he's got 3 clean sheets, or something similar to that. Like his ratio's been great.
In the Championship, he's only conceded in that Huddersfield game where he conceded 2.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's been great. He's just brought a new confidence to the whole team, because, like you say, we had the attack in Mitrovic, but our defence looked a lot shakier. But we're back on good form now. And another player is Kevin McDonald, who has kind of been like a new signing. He's come back into the squad kind of around Christmas time, and he's looked great. I mean, obviously he was quite good when we went up last time into the Premier League, and he took a step back in the Premier League. He just wasn't ready for it, and he didn't have the stamina for it. But back in the Championship, he's looking unreal. And he looks like what we were missing at the start of the season. And since he's come in with Hector, he's just looked like a new signing.
And with you sticking with Scott Parker, we've talked about a bit already, do you think that was the correct decision? He's got a win percentage at Fulham of 45.5%. Do you think that was the right decision to stick with Scott Parker?
Yeah, I think where you look, where you look where we are in the table, it's great considering, where we were when he was finding his feet. We were 11 points, I think it was before Christmas, 11 points off second place. and he seems to have found the squad that he likes, and he's got into the squad, got great chemistry going, and he's making it work. And when he's grinding out results, you can't say he's not the man for the job, because we're level on points with Leeds, like you say, and we're so close to getting promoted. Whether that will happen or not, we'll have to see. But yeah.
And if you were to go up this season, can you cement that position in the top flight?
I think I think some things would have to change. When we went up last time, we went up and spent 100 million, and on paper, that looks great. Like the signings we brought in, Jean-Michel Seri and Guissa, Schürrle, they looked like great signings. But the problem is we slapped them all into a team, and they didn't play well together. And I think some of the blame can be put on Tony Khan, who's our director of football, and at the time, all the Fulham fans were saying, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I think that's harsh to say with the money that his family are investing into the club. Obviously, it's frustrating, but he tries his best. And we've brought in, Jokanovic, our old manager, we brought in his assistant manager as assistant director of football. And I think when he comes in, if we go back up, he can 100% help, and he knows what he's doing. Yeah. So I think when we go up, as long as we don't do anything too stupid, too out there, I think we can, definitely survive relegation. And
we've mentioned the 100 million plus whatever you spent on players last time. Have you got a sort of new club ethos after learning your lesson from the Premier League season last year?
Yeah, I think so, because I think, like you say, a lot of the expensive players have kind of left or gone out on loan. Seri's gone out on loan to Galatasaray, and Guissa's gone out on loan to I think it's Villarreal. Yeah, and he's doing really well, to be fair to Guissa. But I think we've kind of kept the core players that make the team who they are, and we've brought in players who suit our style rather than players that look good on paper, and it's definitely paying off so far.
And finally, Will, where do you think Fulham will finish this season?
I think we'll finish in second place, maybe even first. It depends what happens with West Brom, to be honest. I don't think Leeds are going to make autos. I don't want to say anything too early, because we don't want to seem too cocky or anything, but Leeds, it always happens. They always die out towards the end of the season because of the high pressure football they play, and I think we can definitely finish in the autos.
I agree, really. I think Leeds are starting to fizzle out. Obviously, they got a huge game against Brentford tonight, and that will really be sort of season defining for Leeds if they can get a result over there.
100%. I think Brentford are only just behind us as well. I think it's very close. I think it's between first and seventh. There's about 6 points in it, or before West Brom played, I think there was about 6 points in it, something like that. That's 2 games. That's ridiculously close, and anything can happen at this stage in the season. But we'll have to see what happens, like you say, with Brentford against Leeds, and that is a season-defining game.
Right, well, thank you, Will, for coming on. You can follow Will at the Trusty Fulham Fan, and you can also follow Fulham Focus at Fulham_Focus on Twitter, both those on Twitter. And you can go and check out their blog and podcast, www.fulhamfocus.com. Thank you very much for coming on, Will.
Thank you very much, mate.
No problem. So, I think that's about all we've got time for here on Under the Microscope. Make sure to go and check out Will's Twitter page at Trusty Fulham Fan, and you can go and follow Fulham Focus at Fulham_Focus. You can go and check out their blog and podcast at www.fulhamfocus.com. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Under the Microscope. If you want to see a particular club, player, league, whatever you want to see in this Under the Microscope series where we go in depth on the football world, you can go and comment down below. You can go and tweet me. I've actually got Twitter. My personal account is at LouisBent8. So if you fancy going and tweeting me, seeing what you think and what you want to put in the episodes of this, then you can go and tweet me down below. And obviously I'll be seeing you all on Friday, hopefully, for the L15 weekly podcast as per usual. That's a Champions League special where we welcome Between the Lines, and we also welcome my good friend Ben for the Champions League special. I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Under the Microscope, and goodbye.